Could a modular laptop truly rival the MacBook Pro, especially for Linux users, and fundamentally change how we think about tech ownership? I've finally gotten my hands on the newest Framework laptop, the Framework 13 Pro. If you're wondering why this machine matters, I have one word for you: modular. As a tech reviewer, that single word usually triggers a flurry of red flags in my mind. How many modular project ideas have we seen presented only to never materialize? Think Project Era. Remember phone blocks, that viral promo video, then a demo at Google I/O, followed by a "we're still working on it" update, and then silence. Modular tech promises often worry me, but sometimes they actually make it all the way to a finished product, like the Fairphone. I've discussed the Fairphone on Tech Unboxed before. It's an awesome concept that everyone can support, but not necessarily a product everyone is ready to buy right now. Initially, Framework laptops also seem to follow a similar trajectory for me. The idea of a modular laptop is brilliant. Again, everyone easily roots for it. But it shared the same problem as the Fairphone. It didn't feel as refined. However, they've slowly but surely improved. This newest iteration, specifically, marks their biggest leap towards a truly premium, modular laptop once and for all. They're calling it, in their own words, the MacBook Pro for Linux users. Their internal prompt for this product was actually, how do we build the MacBook Pro for Linux users? You want MacBook Pro level battery life in a machine that actually respects your rights. How do we build the MacBook Pro for Linux users? That's incredibly bold talk, but if they can actually deliver, I see no reason why I wouldn't instantly love this laptop. So let's see. Apple often touts the tight integration of its components as a key factor in its laptop's excellence. For them, nothing is truly upgradable. Memory, CPU, GPU, everything is part of the same chip. And you even need specialized tools to access and replace components, like ports or the battery. The result, however, is a super premium, all-metal unibody, a gold standard pre-built laptop. This Framework 13 Pro comes as either a build-it-yourself DIY kit or a pre-built model. Mine is a pre-built version. So after unboxing it, all I had to do was decide which ports I wanted. I chose 3 USB Type-C ports and 1 SD card reader. But if I ever want to change it, perhaps for an HDMI or DisplayPort, I can easily switch those out. They sell a wide array of other plug-and-play modules, microSD, Ethernet, and many more. That's already impressive. Moving to build quality, my immediate impression is that this device looks fantastic. It's not just because it's matte black, although it is matte black, but it also bears a strong resemblance to a MacBook Pro. I'd even argue it looks a little better, or at least has more character, while still maintaining that premium feel. This is a full CNC aluminum chassis that feels great in the hand. It hides fingerprints about as well as possible, and features the distinct Framework logo centered on the back. It boasts a full-size backlit keyboard with a large haptic trackpad, and a fingerprint reader is subtly integrated into the corner. This deck is nearly identical in thickness to a 14-inch MacBook Pro. But, being a Framework laptop, this entire top piece can be easily replaced with a more colorful version. This whole deck is actually called the input cover. In literally 5 to 10 minutes, using the included screwdriver that comes in every box, you can swap out the entire cover for a more vibrant one, with accent colors on the keys. That's a significant upgrade. The same applies to the display. I'll delve more into the panel in a moment, but you can already see it has a unique character with its transparent bezels, allowing you to glimpse some of the magnets and the webcam assembly. It's quite cool. This too can be replaced with a more colorful or a standard black option if you prefer, and no tools are necessary for the display. There's even a comprehensive parts replacement guide on their website, offering detailed instructions, difficulty levels, and a list of tools needed, which is typically just the included Framework screwdriver. I truly appreciate that this modular laptop, designed for repairability, replaceability, and upgradability, doesn't feel significantly compromised in terms of build quality. Now, is it exactly as well built as a MacBook Pro? Not 100%. It's probably 85% as well built. It's not a unibody design, so when I twist the laptop, I can get the top piece to separate from the bottom pretty easily, which isn't ideal. It also passes the one-finger open test, but the hinge wobbles a bit more than some other laptops I've used once it's open. Overall, though, it's pretty great. This is their best build yet. They are finally delivering what people have been asking for: a premium, modular laptop. So what about that modularity then? I think you can evaluate each individual component and spec of this laptop along two different axes. How good is it compared to something like a MacBook Pro, and how repairable or replaceable is it compared to a MacBook Pro? You'll quickly start to notice a recurring theme here. Take the display, for instance. It's easily their best ever. This is a custom display that looks fantastic, with impressive specifications to back it up on paper. It features an underrated 3:2 aspect ratio, which I love. This is unequivocally designed as a productivity laptop, and I think anyone seeing the 2880 by 1920 pixel resolution will appreciate those extra vertical lines of text, code, or whatever you're reading. If you're in a brightly lit office like me, you'll also value the anti-glare finish, which would cost an extra €140 on a MacBook Pro. It also happens to be a touchscreen, so there's a lot going for this display. It's pretty great. It covers 100% of the sRGB color space, but not the DCI P3 spectrum like the MacBook Pro. So if you're doing MacBook Pro level tasks like professional photography or video editing, that difference might matter to you. Otherwise, I feel comfortable saying this screen offers 80 to 90% of a MacBook Pro screen's quality. But here's the kicker. You can remove and replace it with a single screwdriver. For a MacBook Pro, that's a 20-step, 60-minute iFixit guide requiring about 6 different types of screwdrivers and suction cups. Not to mention, good luck getting your hands on actual Apple parts at a reasonable price. So the framework offers 80-something% of the quality, but it's infinitely more modular. The keyboard is also really nice. It's a full-size backlit keyboard with good key travel. The keys are a little less clicky than I personally prefer, but I can still type very fast on them. It includes function keys, and the haptic trackpad is large, honestly looking about 90% of the MacBook Pro's size. The fingerprint reader in the corner is a bit slower, but it works consistently. So a really solid keyboard deck, maybe 80 to 90% of the MacBook Pro's quality, but you can remove and completely replace it with a single screwdriver. Good luck doing that with a MacBook Pro. Now, the computer itself. This one comes with 32 gigabytes of fast LPDDR5X RAM. It starts at 16 gigabytes, but it's fully upgradable. It has 1 terabyte of PCIe Gen 5 SSD storage, also fully upgradable. Inside, there's a 74 watt-hour battery, which is significantly larger than the previous generation, and it's also fully replaceable. It's challenging to quantify its performance against Apple silicon chips like the M4 or M5, as Apple's system-on-a-chip architecture is fundamentally different and offers unique advantages. But what I can tell you from experience is that the framework has easily handled all the productivity tasks I've thrown at it: word processing, email, Slack, Notion, task managers, and similar applications. It's snappy and excels at these without any problems. The model I'm using features the higher-end Ultra X7 chip, but the entire Intel Core Ultra Series 3 lineup is efficient and boasts integrated graphics capable of handling light gaming. If you wanted to go purely by benchmark numbers, you could again say it delivers 80% of the MacBook Pro's performance, but it's infinitely more modular. The only areas that fall short, not quite aligning with that theme of near MacBook Pro quality with ultimate modularity, are the speakers and the webcam. Unfortunately, despite being rated Dolby Atmos, don't let that fool you. These are barely half the quality of the MacBook Pro's godlike speakers. And the webcam is pretty bad. While the MacBook Pro's webcam isn't groundbreaking, the Framework 13 Pro's 1080p camera is surprisingly poor. It's ridiculously noisy, produces tons of artifacts, and looks terrible in any video call or recording I've tried. A truly, remarkably bad webcam. What I do appreciate, though, are the physical switches built into the bezel to independently disconnect the webcam or microphone. That's a thoughtful feature. Just a quick note. You've probably noticed by now that I'm using Linux on this framework. It's been a while since I've daily driven a Linux machine, but they've come a long way. Of course, you can choose to configure the Framework 13 Pro with Windows 11 if you prefer, but honestly, I probably wouldn't. While all operating systems are fundamentally similar in terms of UI and basic capabilities, the real difference lies in developer support. In a world where this is a productivity laptop and so many people are tired of Windows, I definitely think that if you can get all the tools you need in a Linux environment, there's never been a better time to try it. Firefox is the main web browser, which is excellent, but there are plenty of others like Chromium, Vivaldi, and Opera. For photo editing, there's GIMP and other similar tools. You'll also find Blender, 1Password, Discord, Todoist, Steam, and even some games in the App Center. Crucially, There's less of the Copilot, AI, and ads that have been tainting the Windows experience lately. So, as a subtle observation, the Ubuntu experience here is quite nice. So, have they done it? Have they actually built a modular laptop that's worth buying over a MacBook Pro? The word worth is a bit loaded these days in tech, as we all know, especially with current component shortages. This laptop is not only more expensive than previous Framework models, but Framework actually increased its price recently, even as I was preparing this review. Previously, you could pre-order one for €1,390, but now it starts at €1,480. The higher-end configuration jumped from €1,950 to €2,700. So it carries a high price tag to match its premium build. And it's close to the MacBook Pro, as we've been saying, right? It's 80 to 90% of what a MacBook Pro offers, but not 100%. There are other Windows and Linux computers that might get a little closer on day one. On day one, when you first acquire this laptop, it might feel like the least worthwhile investment. But the longer you keep this laptop, the more its value becomes apparent, especially the second you perform your first upgrade or replace a part. The moment you spill something on it and then simply replace the keyboard deck or the damaged ports, without needing an expensive full repair or a new laptop entirely, that's when the tables turn, and this laptop feels infinitely more worthwhile. On day one, a MacBook Pro is also amazing, and you can use it for years with long-term software support. But if your needs change, if software demands increase, or if you simply require more RAM, you literally cannot upgrade it. Framework, however, has made its main selling point the ability to do exactly that. They are also committed to long-term software updates. And speaking of commitment, here's a fun fact that almost didn't make it into this video. Framework allows you to buy a new motherboard and install it into an older Framework laptop, even a 5-year-old Framework 13, to take advantage of faster Wi-Fi, better memory, and other advancements on older machines. With that kind of backward compatibility, they are truly committed to this modular idea for the long haul. So as a customer, if you can commit to this philosophy for a long time too, that's what makes it worth it. That's what makes the Framework 13 Pro pretty special, and why I'm so glad it exists. It's super cool. Let the people vote with their wallets.